In recent times, there's a renaissance in Jewish spirituality, whereas once only individuals studied Kabbala, Chassidut, Jewish Mysticism. These areas have become more popular and more widespread than ever, especially in Israel. Just as Zionism could be seen as a return to the world of the Tanakh, which so much stressed the significance of the land of Israel, so too the new stress on Jewish spirituality is a return to spirituality, because so much of the world of Tanakh focuses on those aspects that we would include in spirituality. The whole area of prophecy, the world of the Beit Hamikdash, the many tefillot and many songs included in the Tanakh. But if indeed spirituality is deep-rooted in Judaism, this begs the question, why for so long has this side of Judaism been neglected? One answer is given by Rav Shlomo Carlebach. Rav Shlomo quotes a teaching of the Mei HaShiloach that explains why is it that Kohanim who serve in the Beit Hamikdash are forbidden to come in contact with the dead. And the Mei HaShiloach explains that the Kohanim, their role is to serve God filled with joy. And for the joy to flow out of them while serving God, they can't be in touch with death, because the meeting of death would deaden these senses inside of them and not allow them to fulfill their role. Rav Shlomo says that after the Holocaust, after so much suffering, so much death, the entire Jewish people were tumat met, defiled by death. And as a result, we didn't have the ability to come and let flow those wellsprings of joy and spirituality, and instead Judaism focused on the other sides, the very important sides of fulfilling the basic obligations. However, I would like to present a different approach to why is it that for so long spirituality was not a focus in Judaism. And that's because simply spirituality is dangerous. And that's something we certainly could learn from our Parsha, Parashat Shmini, whereas Aaron's two sons, Nadav and Avihu, they are so filled with a drive to come close to God. They approach to God with fire, the fire not commanded by God, but because they approached the holy without the proper preparations, their meeting with God had a tragic end, and both of them died. Spirituality is dangerous. It's something very powerful. And I said it's a powerful drive. It's a drive that sometimes controls us, making us do things that are not right. Rav Moshe Feinstein points out that during the Tanakh, there were a few kings that it says that in their times the Jewish people came back to God. But there's always a but. There's always one law that they kept violating, even in the good times. And that one law was the prohibition to build a private altar. After the Beit Hamikdash was established, all must bring korbanot to God only in the Mikdash. But the drive for spirituality, it's like a yetzer, it's like a yetzer hara that led so many people to do that which is forbidden, to build their private altars, because so powerful was the drive to link up with God that they did it in many ways, including forbidden venues. And the truth is that spirituality is a powerful drive. We know, just like the saying, power corrupts, spirituality can become corrupted. Rav Kook points out that the first temple times were times of great spirituality, as we mentioned, the time of the prophets, the times of the Beit Hamikdash, the writing of so much song and prayer. However, this was also the time of the great sins. Tanakh, we find the Jewish people sinning with idolatry, immorality, and murder. And Rav Kook points out that these things are connected. The sins are sins of passion. The powerful inner spirit is aroused, but when warped and perverted, this leads people, instead of great holiness, to great sin. In fact, the Talmud says that the place, the origin of the Yetzer Hara of idolatry is in Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of the Holiness. So easy. Great holiness can become terrible spiritual corruption. So Rav Kook saw that what had to be done was we had to stop with all the spirituality to allow us to fix all that had become corrupted. And the way to do that is to have Judaism focus on those non-spiritual aspects. A lack of inner discipline led to the warping of spirituality. What has to be done is to build that inner discipline. And that's done by the stress on the study of Torah and the meticulous observance of the small details of the Halacha. And for thousands of years, that has become the focus of Judaism. However, we have never lost the hope and of the ultimate goal of returning to the spirituality. However, the return to spirituality cannot come at the price of sacrificing and changing spirituality for that which we've worked on so hard for so many thousands of years. The study of Torah and the observance of Halacha. And when that is done, when we switch, when we go back to spirituality and leave these elements, that leads to catastrophe. And that's how Rav Kook understands Christianity. Christianity was a call for return to spirituality without continuing to be bound by Torah and Halacha. And similarly, this is what happened with Shabtai Tzvi, who is his false messianism was also a call to go for spirituality unimpinged, uninhibited by Torah and Halacha. The goal, therefore, is to forge these two forces together. And Rav Kook envisioned, in the coming back of the Jewish people to the land of Israel, this would also be a time of return to spirituality. Spirituality that will succeed to be authentic, if it not replacing, but again building on all that we have achieved in thousands of years of the Galut, of the study of Torah, and development of Halacha. For years, I would end my shir every day in yeshiva with the pasuk in Tehillim, Zeh hayom asa Hashem nagila v'nismacha bo. This is the day that God has made. Let us be filled with joy. And this is the way I would express a view of life as being filled, life itself as being filled with joy. What I see as connected to the view of life through lenses of spirituality. However, after understanding this teaching of Rav Kook, I realized that I must precede this pasuk with another pasuk. And now every day before saying the pasuk of Zeh hayom asa Hashem, I precede it with a pasuk from Sefer Kohelet, Sof davar hakol nishma et Elohim yira ve'et mitzvotav shmor ki zeh kol adam. The pasuk in Kohelet that calls us to the fear of God and the fulfillment of His commandments. By hopefully we will achieve what we are seeking by the forging of these two values. Shabbat Shalom.